He's unapologetically himself, but he's falling forward. He's trying to do his best.
I think the fans are going to enjoy that mystery, intrigue, and journey.
Karate is the most important thing in the whole world.
The Saikai Taikai tournament is coming. Now is not the time to puss out. You're gonna fight the best in the world.
Do I want to know what that's for?
Training, Rocky IV style, gonna chop down a tree carried through the snow.
Now what could possibly go wrong?
Obviously, Daniel has always paid tribute to Mr. Miyagi in really touching and respectful ways throughout this series. But in part 1, he's facing some really serious questions and doubts about his mentor. So how is that affecting him psychologically?
Yeah, that's a big part of the arc this season for Daniel LaRusso is it kind of throws him for a loop. It's that thing when someone is no longer there and you learn something about their life that they may not have spoken to you about. And is there hurt there? Is there questioning? This is not the man on the pedestal that I thought? Or are there flaws in everyone and everyone's past, and it's more how you stick the landing and less about maybe mistakes that you've made. And he struggles with all of that, and he's kind of really thrown off balance, certainly for the majority of the season, as he's trying to navigate his friendship and mentor the kids and head on to the world stage in the Saikai Taikai, karate Olympics, if you will. And so it's, for Daniel LaRusso, it's really a rich season, one of the most rich in character for me to play. So I'm really super excited about that, and I think the fans are going to enjoy that mystery, intrigue, and journey.
Yeah, I can't wait to see where it goes. And William, so Johnny has come so far, but he's still displaying some of his bad old habits, the aggression, the troublemaking, the interfering. I want to ask, why do you think those have been so hard for him to break in spite of everything that's sort of changed around him?
Yeah, it's innate to his character. He's been working on himself. He's unapologetically himself, but he's falling forward. He's trying to do his best. He's got his heart on his sleeve. A lot of times he comes up against things where he's misunderstood and people are, in his eyes, and and he has certain reactions, but he's restraining himself, and he's trying to grow and evolve. He's got a huge responsibility now with his new baby coming into the world and trying to be a father to Robbie and Miguel, and he's humbly working with Miyagi-Do, and so it's part of the fun of the character and the growth of that, and him working through the kinks that he's not fully evolved yet and turned around, but he's working the kinks out. That's what's been exciting about playing him from day one, and here we are in season 6, and he's made great strides, but clearly has a way to go. He also has some messages, I think, that are important.
And Yuji, finally, so Chozen's really struggling with his perceived rejection by Kamiko. I wanted to ask, in your view, has he done enough to redeem himself for how he treated her in the Karate Kid Part 2? And do you think the events of that still weigh on him a little bit? Is that kind of in his mind when he's thinking about their relationship or hopeful relationship?
Yeah. How do you get back with somebody that you punched in the face? It's really a tough thing. I don't know. For me, redeeming oneself, it comes with time. And I think the only way you can redeem yourself is with communication and proving yourself that you are a changed person. Does it happen within a course of a season? It's tough. So for my journey, I think it's a tough one for me to kind of get back with somebody right off the bat. It's going to take time. So I think what Chozen's focus is going to be about is the whole Miyagi-Do legacy and fighting for that. That's where his focus is now. And knowing that if it's going to happen and it works out, then great. But for now, his focus is teaching the kids showing them the right way and avoiding the mistakes that Chozen made in the past.
The show has always taken place in a heightened reality, and we love that, of course. But I wanted to ask you what the rules and limits of the world are kind of in the writer's room, because season 5 and 6 part 1 both have some pretty crazy moments. So I'm wondering kind of where are the red lines where you're writing script of like, okay, we can't go that far, you know, like that kind of thing.
We can always go as far as is honest to the idea that karate is the most important thing in the whole world, especially if you're under 18, and especially if you're over 50. And so if you're a sensei or a student, everything else, family, school, love lives, take at least second, if not third, if not fifth place to karate and the pursuit of karate glory. So, you know, anything goes when it comes to believing in the stakes and believing how seriously you're going to fight for a title, for a championship, for your dojo's respect, for, you know, you'll throw away relationships over it. You'll certainly bloody up yourself and or others. And that's all normal because karate is the most important thing in the world. That's the guiding force. And if you believe that, and if you lean into that, and if you just accept that, everything falls into place.
I was going to say as well, there's so much redemption in the show. It's a real recurring theme. And Kreese feels like one of the only characters who hasn't been fully redeemed yet. But I'd kind of love him to be, because I actually found him very compelling. You've really succeeded in making him a very kind of grey character. So I'm wondering in season six, do you see a path back for him, or is he going full villain for the grand finale?
Well, Kreese in season 6 has all been, you know, caged up all season 5. He was, you know, in a low point. He was wrongly put into jail, or wrongly put into prison. He had Johnny and Daniel visit him and give him the potential where maybe he'd be able to get out in an honest way, and they sort of, you know, reneged on their deal and had some harsh words for him. So he's riled up at the beginning of season 6. He's at a fever pitch of anger towards Terry Silver, towards Daniel and Johnny, towards the entire world. So we're seeing a John Kreese who is hell-bent on revenge at the beginning of the season. You know, we have 15 episodes this year, so we'll see the path that John Kreese takes, but it's been a pleasure for us over the years to take that, you know, sort of one-dimensional villain from the Karate Kid franchise who was just evil, and give him some nuance over the years and understand sort of this, you know, fraught father-son relationship that he has with Johnny, get to know about his past, his history, that he wasn't always the man that we've seen in the Karate Kid films and that we've seen over the course of the series. So, you know, we start off this season with John Kreese in a very dark place, and we'll just have to watch the 15 episodes to see if he gets redeemed in the end.
There's also, as you mentioned, this is 15 episodes. It's a longer season, and coming out in 3 parts is quite unusual for a Netflix series particularly. And so I wanted to ask how that impacted the writing process, because presumably you had to structure the show quite differently so that you'd have kind of 3 climactic moments, one of which being the grand finale. So talk about that. Like, that must have been a challenge.
When we made our first season of Cobra Kai, people would ask us, well, how many more of these seasons can you do with this show? And we actually said back in the day, you know, in our minds, it was like 6 or 7. You know, we didn't know all the details of everything that we were going to write, but we felt that the show could go on that long. By the time we got to season 5, it felt, sure enough, that we were reaching that place where we were getting into endgame territory. And when we talked to Netflix, we felt like, you know, 1 season, 10 episodes is not going to be enough to finish this up. 20 became like, you know, it's a lot to make 20 episodes, and we didn't want to wait too long in terms of how they get released and how they all go out. And so 15 became a good number of like a supersized season to give a final season and also pay off all these characters that we've set up. As soon as we decided on 15, the 5-5-5 split up made sense to us, because every season of the show up until now, we do write in like 5-episode arcs. So if you look at seasons 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, everything that's in, the beginning of, episode 1 or 2, it all comes to a head in episode 5, and things change for like the second half of the season. And so we were used to writing towards a big like episode 5 mid-season finale. And so it was just like, okay, well, let's do that. And then we'll do that again for the middle 5. And then, we have, 3, almost, it's like a 3-act final season. And, that's how we came into it creatively. And we liked the idea also for fans because 5 episodes is, for this show is almost about 3 hours. So it's a good binge. Whereas 15 episodes all at once is just like impossible. So it gives fans like a good binge spread out throughout this, from now into 2025 to kind of keep the party going, satiate fans with new episodes. And that was the thought.